Good evening, good evening. So I was planning on recording tonight anyway, and then we got some bonus news, some big news, in fact. We had 2 days in a row with some really big items to talk about. So let's go over today's stuff. Just, a few hours ago, circa recording, probably not even, like 30 minutes ago, something like that. We got an announcement of a rules update. Some of this was long awaited, but starting on January 1st, 2024, in all formats, it's been clarified. This is both Spotlight and Retro and Standard. We are going to 60 card decks, 60 cards plus character. This has been expected for a little while now, especially ever since they announced that the Challenger decks would be 60 cards plus character. Sort of just figured that this was coming down the road, probably before the Challenger decks released, and here we are, right? So starting in 2024, January 1st, this will be in place for that second winter webcam warm-up event. So if you're testing for that, maybe after this coming weekend, let's talk about it in a minute before I forget, but, start testing your decks at 60 cards, because that's going to be the new thing. In addition to that, they are going to be changing the rules on face-down cards, face-down momentum, as well as face-down cards in your card pool. You're going to be able to look at, just like you can look at face-down foundations. This is mostly to avoid, really janky, like, note-keeping situations. The game really slows down if somebody needs to keep track of their momentum. They're keeping notes all the time and being very careful. I put this here, I put this here. You're just gonna be able to look at it. Doing the card pool as well, because why not? There's nothing really where that's a big deal at all, so you'll just be able to go look at those things now. It'll be nice and simple, nice and straightforward. For Retro, they're also changing multiple. This has been something I've been fighting for years. They're going to be changing multiple to where, if you don't know how multiple works, don't worry about it. But the change is you're going to discard the momentum, and you're going to get the multiple copies are going to come off the top of your deck. Which cleans up some weird interactions where certain things randomly negated multiple that didn't feel like they should, or people would shortcut the process, and things would get messed up when stuff got canceled. So multiple copies are just going to come off the top of your deck. Pretty straightforward. It doesn't get blown up if you have to cycle, for instance. So just cleaning up how that works for Retro tournaments. I'll link to the article, among my links in the description for sure, so you can read about the details for that. And a couple other smaller items. As we've seen with some of the cards revealed for Challenger decks and elsewhere, they're going to a model where they're doing character titles now, where it's the character's name, a comma, and then some sort of descriptor for them instead of these character version numbers. A little more flavorful, pretty cool. So they're just clarifying that the rules are, these are basically going to function as version numbers instead of, it's just instead of, Fae 2, it's going to be Fae Queen of Hearts. It's the example that they use. And they're still, in older formats with character stacking, they're still going to work the same way. And the last bit they wanted to do, this is, I don't know how much of a formal technical rule this is going to be, but they want to at least encourage the behavior and sort of try to standardize it in their demo videos and things like that, and encourage people to do this. When your tech deals damage, turn it sideways in your card pool, so that at the end of the turn, you'll know that it goes to momentum. So they'll probably be teaching that game that way to new players. If you can do it when you're playing on webcam events and stuff, it'll probably help. And it's just a tracking thing, just to make sure everybody remembers what attacks deal damage. A lot of people kind of do this part way, where they turn it like a little diagonally. That's probably going to suffice. You don't have to turn it all the way sideways, probably. But they want to sort of make that a normal behavior. But the main things, January 1st, in a few weeks, 2.5 something weeks with the new year, 60 card decks. And if you're a big all-for-one player, you'll be able to look at your momentum and figure out what you're pulling out of there, even if you put some mystery stuff in there. So that's it for the rules updates. Very good changes overall. I don't, aside from people aside from like the biggest, I don't like change boomers, I don't think anybody's complaining about any of these. Also, yesterday, they did a short video with a 2024 roadmap and just detailing what the 2024 releases are going to be. We know almost all of the releases that are going to be in 2024 now, which is really cool because it's still 2023. This is much far in advance than we've really ever gotten for this game, I want to say, including firm dates all the way up through June, so that's super cool. So I've sort of resorted them here into chronological order. There's a few more details you can get on the website from things like the detailed, there's a Godzilla page now on the website, and there's pages for other IPs on the website, and there's sell sheets that you can get some information off of. So I tried to collect what I could here. First of all, as we have already known, January 19th, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun Stampede, Challenger decks. Be Spike and Faye versus Vash and Wolfwood. February 23rd, again, the other one that we already knew, Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament booster set. And along with that is going to be those release tournaments that feed into a Wish webcam tournament, which we still don't have the details of yet. They said that was coming mid-December, and at the rate they're going, that might be tomorrow. We might be very well hearing about that this week. And, of course, the other thing we're missing is 24 and Ice Play. I wouldn't be surprised if that shows up this week or next week either, before Christmas. So, looking forward to those. But in any event, the new news, they've announced a new IP. On March 21st, we are going to get a pair of Challenger decks for Critical Role, which, if you don't know what it is, and I sure really still kind of don't, my understanding is it is a group of voice actors or other talent that record their D&D sessions, but it's really worked up, and I guess they might, I'm not sure if they stream it all or if it's all YouTube videos, but any of it, they really work out the lore, really get people into their characters. They have all sorts of other, some people have done animations of their characters, people do art of what's going on, and a lot of people really seem to enjoy it. So most of what I know about Critical Role before this is that people who like Critical Role really like Critical Role. The post on Twitter or X has gotten way more engagement than anything else Universus Games has ever posted on there. And partially because the Critical Role people actually shared it, because they're not a giant megacorp that doesn't care about this stuff. So that's really cool to see. So it should be a pretty good license for getting some more eyeballs in this game that are, right in line, with the nerd culture, kinds of people that play card games, that sort of thing. So anyway, if you know what any of this means, the two decks that we're going to be getting are for Vox Machina and Mighty 9, which I guess are sort of seasons or campaigns that they did. And the characters, I hope I don't mispronounce these, are Vexalia and Vaxildon versus Jester, Lavore, and Not the Brave. I'm assuming Not the Brave is a coward, because that would be the joke there. But I heard, when this was first announced, a lot of fans were really asking, they really wanted Jester, so I guess that's a popular character. And the other two sound like they're the main character of whatever Vox Machina is. So that's really cool. I'm looking for, I certainly don't hate random fantasy stuff, so even if I don't know the characters, I'm sure the cards and the art will be really cool. So we're looking forward to that. May 17th, that is an exact date. We have an exact date for the next booster set after Dark Tournament. 2 booster sets in advance, we get an exact date. And it is going to be the MHA Booster Set 7, the 7th MHA set, which was kind of expected, and they're calling it Girl Power. It is going to be an all-female character set. Probably pretty good for marketing, right? Just you get all the popular female characters in there, because a lot of times they feel forced, like that you have to do Deku again, we have to do Bakugo again, that sort of thing. So I assume we're finally going to see Kendo. I imagine we're going to get another Momo, another Jiro, another Asui, etc., all of those, and then probably, my guess is we're going to be leaning into that 1A versus 1B arc. We're going to get, like Pony and things like that. So that should be cool to see. Should be a lot of characters that haven't gotten a million versions in that set. We'll see what that the article also says that each character is they're gonna have alternate art characters like they have for Jetburn, so we're gonna get that back. Probably a different style, right? I imagine each set of these alternate art characters is gonna have their own style treatment. So instead of sort of the casual tech gear, there'll be something else. But yeah, so that's May 17th. So that is basically 3 months minus a week after the Dark Tournament booster set. So if you're keeping track, this is targeting 4 booster set releases a year. They have announced 4 booster set releases for the year. You can presume that the Attack on Titan set, which does not have a specified date, but probably mid-August, right? And maybe even a premiere event at Gen Con. Because people are going to have to start making their plans for Gen Con pretty soon. So if you're excited for Attack on Titan and you might want to be an Attack on Titan premiere event, probably 50-50 or higher chance that there's something like that at Gen Con. So be aware of that. But after that, June 21st, I believe this is the date we already know. We're going to get the Godzilla Challenger release, but we did not know there are going to be 2 Godzilla decks. And they're going to feature Godzilla and other kaiju. So this is not just a Godzilla -1 license. It is going to be Godzilla and other kaiju versus 2 other kaiju. So Go argue about your favorites, which ones you want to see. We're probably not going to find out exactly which ones they are until, a preview season in late May or something, so you have, 5 months to argue with people about what the other 3 kaiju should be, I guess. Unless it's different from the other ones where there's 1 character in each, but they've done 2 characters in each challenger deck for these other ones, so that's probably going to be a thing they want to keep doing. Because it is a cool way as a prepackaged product to sort of give people different ways, different matchups they can play, and that sort of thing. After that, we lose the specific dates, which is kind of encouraging for the ones that we do have specific dates for. That means that they have some process in place, so if our development is at this far along, we can name a specific date. If it's not quite that far along, we're not going to name a specific date, right? Because something could still go wrong that's really, So it's good to see that, they have a delineation like that, even though clearly the Q3 Attack on Titan booster set, they want to release it mid-August, just given the other dates. They're also going to release some form of MHA Challenger decks in Q3, kind of touch back to that license so that it's not completely lost in all this Attack on Titan stuff. And in Q4, it's going to be a second Attack on Titan booster set. So we're going to get back-to-back. Makes sense. You want to get people into the game for the Attack on Titan. If you can tell them that, hey, there's a second set coming out in a few months, that increases their confidence that they're buying into the game. That is, it's not just going to be 1 set of Attack on Titan and they have to go deal with that, play into all the other licenses. I mean, I'm sure they're going to sell the game as Universus as the multi-license game, but they think this is going to be a good recruiting tool, so they want to do 2 booster sets for it right out of the gate. They've also said that in Q3 and Q4, alongside the releases, it wasn't too specific. There are going to be a couple of Attack on Titan Challenger decks. We're not sure if those... All these other ones have been in pairs. I don't know if they're going to do 2 pairs of Challenger decks, because they're probably also going to have Clash decks, so we'll see how that hashes out. But they do plan to have Attack on Titan Challenger releases alongside of it. The last Challenger deck release slot on their little roadmap was left blank. And they also teased that they have some sort of sci-fi IP that they're excited for. No specifics. Clearly, they're close enough that they're willing to say that they're close to getting a sci-fi IP. Clearly, the ink's not dry enough that they can announce a release, or it's like a 2025 booster release and there's no point announcing it at this time. So they have some sort of sci-fi IP in works that may or may not be what fills that last Challenger deck slot. So we'll have to see how that goes. It could be all sorts of things, right? Sci-fi kind of covers a range of different mediums. It could be a sci-fi anime, it could be a sci-fi video game, it could be a sci-fi movie, it could be a TV show. I mean, it could be a Futurama or a Star Trek or a Rick and Morty or a Star Rail or I've heard Cyberpunk listed. It could be a Matrix. It could be like Terminator, God knows what, right? It could be. There's all sorts of stuff that falls under the umbrella of sci-fi. So we don't really know too much about it other than that they have something that they felt inclined to tease there. And they did a call out to comment on their video with IPs that you want. Comment in their Discord. They made a Discord channel for IP listings, so my guess is that they're probably going to try to just harvest this as a micro survey. So it might not be a total waste of your time to go put your favorite things in the YouTube comments or into that Discord channel if you'd like. Obviously it takes 2 to tango. They can go after whatever they want. If the other company isn't interested, then it's not going to matter. And I'm sure they've reached out to most everything that makes any amount of sense, but never hurts them to just try to harvest more data, right? They send that question on most of the surveys they send out, what IPs you want, that sort of thing. So that's it for the big 2 days of news that we've had. The last thing I want to call out is this coming weekend is the Winter Bash event, I believe they're calling it, run by Let's Talk UVS and Tam Cardwell. It is going to be a webcam cash tournament. I believe we have 52 entries at time of recording. And the cash pool is $500 plus $10 per participant. So we are at over a $1,000 cash pool for what is a 50-person tournament. It is going to be run only on the Saturday. This coming Saturday, which I believe is the 16th, as I check my calendar. Yep. So Saturday the 16th, they're going to do a set 6 rounds of Swiss, and they're going to cut a top 8 to try to get through it all in one game, no matter one day, no matter how many people show up. So if you're worried about spending your whole weekend on it, you don't have to. It's just going to be Saturday. Obviously, Tam and David Toombs are going to be commenting it as they cover this. I don't know if they have a third or not. They might not. It might just be those two, and Godspeed doing 9 straight rounds just with 2 people. But we'll see what they're like by the end of this. But yeah, I'm gonna try to play in it. That the names on this list are kind of crazy. This might be a better testing grounds for your HLC LCQ aspirations than the winter webcam warm-ups are gonna be, the official ones. So, I would encourage people to come join in. It should be a good time. And if you want to test maybe look at your 50 card deck and test making it 60 cards. There's a good chance to do so ahead of the changes at the start of the new year. So, with that all said, looking forward to possibly more news this week. If they put something out on Monday and Tuesday, that means they probably have something they want to put out on Thursday or Friday, so we'll see what that is. And yeah, have a good week. Have a good night.